Ambassador Tai names Katie Mastman as acting assistant U.S. Trade for Labor. That was 19 hours ago. Anyway.
I'm Cesar Delgado from back roads of Illinois. I am joining with
right now for some real perspectives.
Well, thanks, Mac, for that short answer. You can always count on Mac to give us the economist
April,
part of it.
that was a short answer.
I know. So we just it was called Farm Forward conference in Iowa, and we had experts panels and a marketing panel, and they pretty much Mac summed up what we're hearing is, even though Brazil's crop will be down, and I'll say it plainly, Mac put it eloquently, USDA is going to kick that can down the road as long as they can to shorten up that Brazil crop, but Argentina is going to make up for it. So they're still looking for a combined South America crop to be higher. So, what we're doing to increase demand here, we know our crush is going up. So we're looking for more ways to export the meal. And also what I love is the value added in the United States. Let's use that meal here and feed more chickens and pigs and up the inclusion rate. Sorry, lower the DDGs. Sorry, Krista. And but increase the great protein. So that's kind of what they're looking for, is that decreased Brazil, increased Argentina, overall bigger crop down in Brazil.
Yeah, and I'll jump in here and say that, really, aside from the DDG's comment, I could really take everything that Mac and April have just said and apply the same thing to corn. It's very much a similar story when we talk about South America in terms of, it's looking like there will be fewer corn acres planted this year after many years of increasing area and production, similar to what Mac said for soybeans. Last year, record corn crop in South America, or Brazil, excuse me, while Argentina had a reduced crop that was very much cut, just very much the same as soybeans. And so as we look at the two nations together, though, Argentina having that rebound this year, currently they're projected to come from 34 million metric tons last year up to 54 for this year, and offsetting anything that Brazil's losing for this year. And so, keeping a close eye on that, but expecting overall South America to have higher corn production. Similar to what April said, certainly important to National Corn Growers Association as well to think about the demand channels and how we can use that corn both domestically and abroad.
Yeah, maybe I just want to add something on that as we think about demand channels here for soy. And, April, what you'd said about, the opportunities we have for animal ag here, it can't be overstated. It's really exciting. I mean, I think one of the things that really positions America well, in a global environment is that we have the efficiency of row crop production, which enables efficiency of animal agriculture production. And then when you have, those sources coming together, that allows for value-added opportunities, throughout. I also think back to a recent study that USB worked on in conjunction with the National Oilseed Processors Association that really, I think, underscores, just what soy does in terms of an economic impact domestically. Contribution to the U.S. economy on average over 120 billion with a B dollars per year. And as we move forward and see increased crush assets coming online, hopefully more and more value-added production in the animal protein space, hopefully we see those numbers continue to advance. And that's before we even get into the export channels. And of course, we're exporting a lot more meal, capped a record season last year. Of course, you had the shortfalls in Argentina as partial contribution to that. But I think as more and more markets around the world are, getting to experience, U.S. origin soybean meal, it's a good foothold to have for the future for sure.
The world agricultural supply and demand for January. It went lower. Yield is 130 bushels per acre in Manto Grasso area. I talked with the markets analysis for last week. Yields are no good for Brazil. Kristen, what is the forecast?
I think Krista might pop back on in a second. She's got double duty between leading corn economics and and of course number one
Being a mom.
responsibilities too. So maybe we'll pause on that one for a minute. On the corn side down in Brazil, but as I was mentioning a few minutes ago about soy, you saw even lower numbers put out by a growers union down there. I think was putting the crop size at 135 million tons, which is definitely not anything close to an official number. I think a lot of the market has kind of more or less disregarded that, but it's another.
You're also set up. I say agronomically, but also I think about like feasibility of timing, like on our farm. It's important to have a certain number of each crop when we think about strategically planning for the fall and that harvest situation, how we can fit all of that in and get those crops out when it's time to, versus being too heavy one way or another.
I'm so glad you both said that and talked about rotations and agronomy. As a non-farmer, and this goes out to any non-farmers watching or listening right now. It's very easy for us to just look at the financial metrics and numbers and look at corn soy price ratio and say, oh, based off of these financial metrics, this is going to
beans are 3 times more than corn, so why aren't you planting more beans? Well, I'm from Iowa.
it's that intersection of agronomy and economics and strategic planning, like you said there, and that's something I'll never fully grasp because I'm not a farmer. I don't have to live it day to day, but it's something for which I've gotten an increasing appreciation over the time I've been in industry. It's not just the finances, so much more to it.
Yeah. Prices are currently considering down for inputs. The Mississippi River is being lower than previously years.
Yeah, you want to take that, Mac, or you want me to start?
Go ahead. I'll start high level and try to be brief, and then yeah,
I'll get in the weeds.
Yeah, I with input prices coming down, at least as variable inputs, let's remember that that's coming off of a multi-year historical high. So even as it's come down, you've still got a lot of margin compression there. And one factor impacting, the farming community, but also the downstream, demand side too. Let's not forget about that. Is just where we are with interest rates. The interest rate environment is materially different and higher than it was, a year ago, or 2 years ago, when there was so much talk about input price pressure. So now it's another component, and because financing is effectively an input in one way or another. How's that for brief, April?
And that was pretty good. I'm proud of you, Mac.
Thank you.
So on the input side, so one of the Chad Hart from Iowa State said prices are going to stay around the cost of production. Well, me as a farmer, I've never known that the market has cared what my cost of production is. Market doesn't care. Doesn't care if I'm losing money or making money. It is what it is. So, there's that. And then the interest rate, you hit on that, but exports, corn, soy, ethanol, you name it, we got to get it down that river. And I know you just got back from Panama, right, Mac? And I'm going next week. Were you there? Yeah.
Brazil.
Oh, Brazil. Okay. Because I know Iowa people were just in Panama. They're moving stuff through the It's not they're not moving ships, they're just moving less than what they usually do. So the trade is moving, which is good to get our exports out. But as a farmer, yeah, we're, heyday's over, back to the nose to the grindstone and watching our cost of production and what we have to sell crops for.
Yeah, April makes a
Do
good point
you
that
have opinion on this corn crop for this year in central US and Corn Belt?
I have lots of opinions, Caesar. I'll start off. So I'm going into my 4th year of a D2 or higher drought. Now, we do have snow, but my ground still froze. I live up in the tundra, although we're having heat waves now. So I've tapped out my subsoil moisture, but with that said, I had the best crop I ever had last year, the 3rd year of a D2 drought, but I got those timely rains right when I needed it. So will that happen again? 5 miles north of me, they had the worst crop they'd have for a year. So, I was, Goldilocks, I was in the right place. So I'm very worried about moisture going into this crop, especially for my corn crop. But we always seem to produce because we have Illinois.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and April makes another good point here about, just the amazing productivity of some of those corn yields from last year. Despite drought, we still had some states hitting record yields, and Illinois, as an example, had significant levels of drought at one point, but notably not necessarily widespread throughout the whole season, and also
you were like the tale of two states, weren't you?
Yeah, not like, and also not
Right.
that super severe, but still record corn yield in that state. Record corn yield nationally, despite the drought. And I think that goes to show the resiliency of the hybrids that we have now. And, but certainly still concerns, like April noted, definitely some of those areas just got timely rains right at the right point, and there could be a different drought year where we don't have that. And so still a lot of drought presence throughout some of the Corn Belt, and particularly within those our 4 largest corn producing states is where some of that drought is most concentrated right now. And the snow has brought some relief, but there's also, I follow a few different meteorologists and predictions for what will happen in climate trends. And, some thought that we could see La Nina moving back in by mid to late summer. And so, that also is a different dynamic. And we know that the last, after 3 years of that, and that tends to bring some of that dry weather in those areas as well. So, right. Maybe we won't see that's left to be seen how that could have an impact, or if it does, but definitely another thing that's a factor on farmers' minds right now.
Yes, it does have any concerns about corn for this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in terms of concerns, we sort of just hit some of that. What will climate conditions bring? What will the growing season look like? Another thing, even though I was just talking about the potential maybe for dry later season, the current climate pattern we're in could set up for a spring that's cool and wet, particularly in the eastern Corn Belt. And so, that's something that we're a little too early to make these predictions right now, but just some early concern for what does planting season look like? Will we have that window to get in the fields and plant in that optimal timing? So that's kind of some concerns at the farmer level on that side, to see as we see how that pans out. I mean, and just larger speaking in terms of the market, and of course corn price is not where farmers want it to be. April noted earlier, the market doesn't really care if you're making money or not. It's not the market price for these crops is not based on your cost of production, but definitely again at the farm level a concern as you look at how that's setting up. And here starting tomorrow, we'll be in the February zone of when we're setting that crop insurance guarantee price. That's definitely going to be on farmers' minds, because we are, for both corn and soybeans, at much lower levels than we were when we were setting that projected price last year. So when we think about the revenue guarantee for the farmer, Also looking at a lot lower levels for this year. And then on the larger scale of just the market in general, coming out of last year with over 2 billion bushel carryout, definitely all eyes on, how can we, what can we do to support demand, which we also talked about earlier.
That's what I was just gonna add on to that.
We
United
hope not going to
okay.
be same like 2019.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're
Not good.
no,
We hope
being the
not
demand
going
share.
to be same like
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah, those were some tough years on the farm, 19 and then 20, and then we hit COVID. But pushing demand. So in the United Soybean Board, we can't use our checkoff dollars to influence policy or the policy makers. And so much of the demand on the corn for ethanol and biodiesel, renewable diesel, and SAF on the soybean side, SAF on corn too, and ethanol depends on policy. And so we depend on our partners, at ASA to really push that policy part of it, because that's really also what drives demand, is to, communicate to people how important, the renewables are in biofuels. So.
And if I may add on to that, we're not able to have those markets, I think, without investment and innovation and forward thinking. And, we at the start of the program, we were talking about this wave of crush expansion and all the meal implications. Well, we probably don't get to that place if it hasn't been this multi-staged cycle of innovation going back 30 years, 30 plus years to the creation of biodiesel as a viable demand channel for soybean oil in the United States. And here we are with renewable diesel, and then, SAF, which has both, corn and soy, potential applications there. It's all exciting. And, who knows what the next wave of innovations is going to be, soybean oil use in bioplastics and other forms of petroleum replacement. This, where we are now, and I'd say the potential for soy's use in energy and really, crop-based inputs for energy, that sets the groundwork for, a crop-based and more sustainable overall economy and ecosystem moving forward. So it all comes together.
Do you have final thoughts on this issues with going on right now?
Well, one piece we haven't touched on the demand side is China, which, I think anytime we're talking demand and global dynamics for American ag, it's kind of hard to not touch the proverbial elephant in the room sometimes.
I call it the giant panda in the room.
The giant panda in the room. I like that. It's definitely clear. It's the last couple of years, I think, have been really good as we've come out of the trade war, and China's come back in as a large buyer of corn and soy out of the US. But as we look forward and you see various shifts in economic and demographic conditions over in China, second straight year of declining population, definitely a lot of pressure in the housing and banking and retail sectors over there, which is impactful for, pork margins and by extension, willingness to pay and purchase for inputs for feeding hogs. That's something to watch out for. But, again, as we think about demand generation and creation, it really is April as our chair for the demand action team thinks about it more than anyone. We have to think about other opportunities. April, I don't know if you have other.
Well, and that's what, that's what I, just the innovations we have and the investments farmers are making. These are farmer dollars from the corn side and the soybean side to do that forward thinking. As China demand will decrease with decreased population, we're looking all over the world for new investments and new uses. And that's why I'm so proud of both the organizations, National Corn Growers and United Soybean Board, to, take those farmer dollars and invest them to really look to the future So I can move those piles off my farm and
Mm.
and keep making money. So more money in the farmers' pockets.
Yeah. And to reiterate what they've just said, I mean, certainly a lot of efforts being put into expanding markets while China has been a great buyer for both corn and soybeans in recent years. You know, there's other markets too. And so we need to be thinking about all the different places we can be and you know, not just for the corn and soybeans, but also for those value added products like our meats that are so important for both commodities, you know, ethanol or biofuel exports on both sides too. As we can create new markets for those value-added products, we're ultimately moving more of our the corn and soybeans that are grown on our farms too. So,
Well said.
Time is running out, but thank you. Thanks for coming out for this morning. I do really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me, Caesar. This is a lot of fun. I enjoy our one-on-one podcast, but I got to tell you, it's even more fun with April and Chris. No shortage of topics to cover.
No shortage of words. Yeah. Never ask a farmer's opinion because you'll get it. So
You're welcome, Mac.
This was fantastic as always. Really appreciate the time. I will not wish you good luck in the Super Bowl. Really worst of luck there. But you know, I'm a petty man. What can I say?
you were for the Bills or the
Seahawks.
no, the Lions. Oh,
no, I'm a Seahawks fan.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, we
Well,
didn't
they
make the playoffs.
did not do so well.
I just got to
Have
be an
a fantastic day.
Bye, Caesar.
Bye.
Bye, Caesar. Bye, Mac. Bye, Caesar.
Bye.